Tell me, what happened?
Disaster. Why me?
We've installed a camera.
Dub camera.
Don't tell anyone that. It's a camera and it's a flashing light, so hopefully it will put any prospective burglars off.
£2 to £7 Amazon.
A few months ago, I was surprised to find that my shed had been burgled. When I went inside, I found that all my tools, all my gardening equipment had been taken.
The first part, I jokingly said, I hope they haven't raided the freezer, and they took one pizza out of the freezer. There were 3, they took 1.
My fault, because I had left the key in the door.
Is it her fault?
Yes.
We were very angry. It's almost attacking her memory. We had a memorial tree planted for my grandmother in Devon. Within 2 days, it got attacked by a resident. They poured bleach around the base, cut the bark. This year we had it replaced, and again it got attacked. We can only assume it's because of someone's view may be skewed eventually when it grows, but there are other trees there.
I was working one night in Camden. I saw 2 guys on the back of a moped. They were moving it really, really slowly. All of a sudden, I saw someone walking with their phone closer to the pavement. That's when they started making the movement. And as soon as they got right close up to him, they sped up, reached across, grabbed his phone, yanked it, they drove off.
When I was 18, I was training with. We used to wake up at 5 a.m. and train in the park for an hour. I was walking on my street on the way back, and there were 3 boys. As I walked past them, I got sucker punched in the back of the head. I turned around and I fly kicked him in the chest. 2 of his friends came to help him, and one of them turned to me and pulled out a meat cleaver. I thought it was probably best time to run. I managed to get home, knock on my door. I saw them turn and look at me, and then realized that was my home, and they ran away.
How did that make you feel?
Quite emotional, really, because I remember when he was younger and he got stripped naked on a bus by just a gang of youths. I remember how emotionally scarring that was for him. A little bit later, he ended up being a professional Thai boxer. Because of that action, I was able on that day to defend myself from a potential stabbing.
Do you say anything else?
No, I hope you're good. I love you.
One of my buddies, we were throwing a party and didn't notice the entire time his car was being stolen right outside. We didn't notice till the morning after. Really what we found out from the police, what happened was his car was broken into using electronics, smartphones, and they were able to plug in with a USB cord into his computer in his car and just start it up. It's becoming a big problem with modern cars, so I think I'm going to avoid getting a fancy Tesla or whatever.
When I was in my previous house, we came home, my wife and I and our kids, and we found that we'd been burgled. Someone had broken in through the back door. They hadn't taken much, but they had taken disaster, my computer with my work on it. But because I'm a cautious fellow, most of what I needed I had already printed out.
It made me feel like a bit of an idiot. A mate asked me to sell his car. One of the viewers, they asked to see the documents, took them for a test drive, and at one point they must have distracted me because they switched out a spare key for a fake key. I only noticed this the next day when I woke up and the car was gone. It was just such a simple crime, such an easy way to steal.
There's the sense of violation, which I think goes with all intrusion into your house. It made my wife very uncomfortable about being on her own. We didn't tell the children because we didn't want them upset.
I witnessed a carjacking. Young man was pulled out of his car by 2 young girls. They stole his car, drove up the street, and they crashed it into a lamppost. One of them passed away, and the guy was frantically asking people for their phones. I gave him my phone to call the police. Things like this happen every day in major cities, London, Washington, D.C., LA. Crime happens all around us.
It was, I think, the second week I was here, moved for university. I was having lunch with some new friends, and when we were eating, I had my phone on the table stupidly. Someone just walked past and took it, and none of us noticed until we were leaving after we'd paid and everything, and I realised I can't find my phone. I did report it to the police, but they said that there weren't any cameras, so they couldn't do anything. I think because I just moved, it made me feel quite like, oh my gosh, I'm not at home in the countryside anymore, and it kind of made me realise what it's like living in a city and you can't just like leave your stuff around, and to be a bit more vigilant. So it was a good lesson in that way.
We took a loan out to buy a new car. We drove to Coventry to buy it. We met the guy. We took the car for a test drive. We got home, tried to tax it, couldn't tax it. Tried to tax it the next day, we couldn't. So we called the police and they came to check the car. Turns out it was stolen from Coventry, from a lease car company, and the original car was actually from Surrey. So we had it taken off us, and then over the next couple of weeks, we got letters from our insurance company saying that the same car was used in a hit and run and that it was us. It kind of went that way. We lost the money. We couldn't get any of it back. 4.5 grand gone. They never could catch the person because the phone was a burner and none of the details matched up or anything. I just can't believe that he'd do it. It just seems like such a cheap move.
One experience that I did have was witnessing a hit and run when I was on my way back home from uni. It stayed with me because I had never witnessed something like that ever in my life, and I have never been on a bike, and I don't think I will after that day.
It really shook me because I was like, this is probably the same guy. I was waiting for my bus on the bus stop, and this really random man just came up to me and he was like, do you want a sweet? And I was like, no, I'm okay, I didn't really want one. He really tried to force it upon me that, oh, you should have it, it's really good. From what I've learned from my parents as well, they've told me that don't ever take something from a stranger. So that's just something that kept on replaying in my mind. I just refused and I just saw the first bus that came and left. About a week later, I saw this news. Someone was kidnapped on the same bus stop. You know, it happened on the same day around the same time as well.
There was a couple that was living opposite us and they got into a huge fight over a games console. She left the area. She told her mum she was gonna go home. But you never tell your mum you're gonna go home and you don't turn up. So then her boyfriend ended up following her out of the community and they found her body later on in a swamp, had been eaten by alligators, and they had all the evidence because the cell phone tower was pinging off. They followed his car, all the GPS, everything. There's CCTV footage of him leaving and coming back in a different outfit. And when they raided his home, they found 27 guns there. In the end, they said there wasn't enough evidence to convict him because he didn't have his phone on his person when it happened. And that gave him a 12-hour window to escape over the border to Mexico, so then they couldn't go and get him.
I once saw a man trying to light a convenience store on fire. One day I was in a convenience store with a couple buddies and we walk out of the store and there's a man standing there holding a Molotov cocktail with the handkerchief in the bottle, trying to light it on fire. But it was pouring rain that day and he's struggling, so he's standing there frustrated, flicking the match, trying to light it, and I guess it just didn't work out. He looked at us, we looked at him. We were kind of like, are we supposed to do something? Kind of shocked in the moment, not sure what was going on. And he stormed off angry and that was really that.
And Bradley didn't engage, because that could have ended differently.
When I was 18 years old, I was fending for my life. Fresh, moved to London, I was in a McDonald's, a man came up to me, he threatened to take my things, threatened to kill me. I ran to the disabled toilets where he grabbed the back of the door and basically had a tug of war with me over trying to get in to attack me. With all my strength, I pulled that door shut. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it out of that disabled toilet okay. Eventually he left.
On my birthday, a taxi driver tried to kidnap me. So I was partying with my friends, totally drunk. I booked a taxi and I was heading back home. There was a street which is very dark and I was a bit suspicious, okay, what's going on? I was very drunk, but somehow, my senses were working, and once he was trying to grab me, I just, pushed him really hard and I just ran from there. And I didn't look back. I was running. I don't know, he was following me for some time, but, he left me and, and I tried to find a shop which was open. So I went in there and after, 30 minutes or 40 minutes, I booked another taxi. In the morning, I was thinking whether I was dreaming, I was too drunk, or it really happened to me. And next morning, I thought to, file a complaint with the taxi provider. And they took some action.
You hear of knife crime or anything, but it's always been there. It happened many years ago, back in the 1980s. The next door neighbour was getting burgled. He was away on holiday. I jumped a fence, chased the burglar. He had a knife, pulled it out on me, and I stopped.
I don't think I've ever had a crime happen to me.
What about walking down the street?
Harassment from men daily, shouting out of vans. We're laughing, it's not funny. I've never really thought of it as a crime, just really annoying. Never thought to report it. It'd just be so much hassle to report it, and then they'd be like, who was it? Where were they? I'd say, I don't know, a random guy at a random point in the street that I've forgotten about.
I was with this man, and there was this guys with a bike, with a mask, but we didn't really pay attention. And suddenly we hear a scream. like a very deep screen, and we look around, and then this South American woman, she told us this guys pulled a knife on her, took the phone immediately.
Do you think she was most upset about the phone?
The contents in the phone, I'm guessing, like photos and who knows.
I've been grabbed in the street. Really? Physically grabbed? Oh my god. I mean, I'm a bit more aware when it's dark, if I'm on my own, or call someone. Oh yeah, I don't actually walk alone without calling someone. It's true.
20 years back, when I came in this country, there is two gentlemen is arguing. I called the police. Within 2 minutes time, the police came. My wife, how it comes, just called and the police came. Then I told, this is United Kingdom. The government, they gave them security, they gave them human rights, and they gave them free to speak. So my wife told, thanks, United Kingdom. That's the history.
People have got an habit of looking back with rose-coloured glasses and thinking, oh, this was safe, that was safe. I'm pretty sure that we're more safe now than what it's ever been. People say, well, you can leave your front door open. The only reason why you could leave your front door open is you never had nothing inside to nick.